Welcome to this very special Bristol Life Business Club, the last one of this year, and it's about the Charities of Bristol. Once more, it's sponsored by Bevan Britain. I hope this finds you well. It's a timely reflection on Christmas, on charities, on how businesses intersect with charities, what we can all do to help our charities, to help others in this foul, unconscionably difficult year and in the months ahead as well. So today we'll be discussing what this year has been like for the Charities of Bristol, when the need has never been greater and yet when the funding has never been more imperiled, for all the obvious reasons, and how businesses have engaged with our charities. We'll be speaking today with Bristol Mind, Caring in Bristol, Empire Fighting Chance, The Grand Appeal and Penny Bruin. One thing I'd like to highlight to all our charities watching this is that we offer a free page of advertising to any charity in every issue of Bristol Life, and the same for our magazines in Bath, Cardiff and Exeter. Please do talk to us about that and take advantage of that. A page in Bristol Life reaching the audience that we do, we hope will have good value for you. I'd like to bring forward now Mark from Bevan Britain, Mark Calverley, to say a few words. Bevan Britain is our sponsor of the Bristol Life Business Club, whether virtually as now or in real life at the Avon Gorge Hotel, and we will return to those as soon as we can, our lunches with live interviews, live networking. The whole concept of live events does feel a little bit strange after 9 months of close to silence. But let's hear from Mark about Bevan Britain. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Greg and everybody. Thank you very much indeed. And it's delighted to be the sponsor for this event. I'm our firm's board lead on community engagement, which is why I've been asked and been very grateful to do this little slot. For those who don't know, we're a national law firm with our HQ in Bristol. I think as one of the messages that's going to come out today is how how difficult a year this has been for many of you, for many of the charities across the country, but talking today as well, and how important it is for support from organisations. As a firm, we actually increased our Christmas charitable donation to each of our office charities. And we donated £40,000 in total, and St Peter's Hospice, which is our Bristol charity, was absolutely delighted. We were delighted to be able to make that contribution. But actually, I wanted to make a shout out for all the lawyers in Bristol, because it's not about individual firms trying to sort of do the best or do better than other firms. And in fact, Bristol's quite unique across the country in having a Bristol-wide organisation of lawyers who meet together both for pro bono and for community engagement. And I think that says a lot about the city and about the people who work here, that that the lawyers within the city are keener to ensure that we get good outputs for the charities that we work with, rather than somehow trying to do better than the other firms. So I'm very proud to be part of those organisations and to try and do what we can for charities within the area. So that's all I wanted to say, and I really look forward to hearing from our speakers today. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. That was very communitaire of you and of Bevan Britain and the other legal firms within Bristol. That sense of what can be done perhaps collectively, separate to individually, is a very powerful message. And I know other industry sectors take similar approaches. But hats off to you for that. And again, thanks to Bevan Britain as our sponsor. Thank you. Good. Let's move on to a couple other things before we come on to our charity session. First up, about our awards. We have our Bristol Property Awards, which are now part of the Bristol Property Symposium. The tickets are actually on sale today. So a bit of a plug here. If you want to join for keynotes, the awards, to meet the greatest array of Bristol professional services since those pre-lapsarian days of 2019, please do take a look and talk to us about how you can get involved. I'm not going to read you the full roster of our sponsors this time, you'll be pleased to know. Perhaps the sponsors won't, but we have had extraordinary support for them, and we are very, very proud of the support across the piece, very much led by our headline sponsor of that event, Smith and Williamson. So our thanks to them. Then we have the Bristol Life Awards. We ran them virtually in October, September, whenever it was, some time back And it was a joyous, joyous event. It was virtual and it's had extraordinary reach on YouTube. Far more people watching it than would have watched it in real life. But we intend to be back in real life as soon as we can next year. And we have a target date of the 22nd of April, when we'll be running once more in our Uber Glam marquee on Harbourside. If circumstances change, and who knows how many of us know any of this, we have contingency plans to put that back later into the spring, into the summer, and even beyond if we need to, because we want to get everyone together once more. It'll be a truly special occasion with everyone together to celebrate the very best of Bristol, from the coolest of the indies through to the largest of the corporates. Everyone plays their part in the sort of topography of Bristol's business life, creative life, cultural, and of course charities. We have a special charity category as well, which I know I think virtually all of our panelists today have entered. Indeed, some have won previously. The nominations are actually open via the website now, and of course we know this has been a, whatever word you want, tough, crap, difficult, horrible year for most people, and we're cognizant of that. But please, now is the time to start thinking about 2021, promoting what you do, building new relationships, and also just thanking your teams and those who've supported you via your nominations and so on to get your story out there. We'll run a special launch event for the awards early in Jan next year. It seems miles away, but it isn't at all. And that'll be virtual, of course, and we will have each of our sponsors there. And I will give a quick shout out to our current roster of sponsors, led by Marsh Commercial, the headliners, plus Anderson Financial Management, British Corner Shop, Brunel Insurance Brokers, Burston Cook, CMC Marquees, Curo, SLX, Spaces, Triangle Networks, VWV, and of course, Bristol Life. Momentum is very much building. Early in the new year, we have a couple of Bristol Life business surgeries. The first with another legal practice, Roy Twithy King, about M&A, which is the buying and selling of businesses, on Jan 20th. And on Feb 3, there's a business surgery with telecoms and business communications company, Blackstar Solutions. If you're interested, if your company's interested in a deep dive expertise webinar where we explore what the service offering is and of course help generate business for companies, please talk to us. It's important that we all find new pathways to generating business in 2021. Lastly, I'm going to have a quick prop, which I hope is going to be visible here to you. Many thanks indeed to you all for your support for Bristol Life. It's been, we didn't know what to expect, having been silent for 4 or 5 months or so this year for all the obvious reasons. And we came back in September. We've been thrilled with your support, both commercially and editorially. Let me just show you this. This is our latest Bristol Life. You can probably see it there. We're extremely proud of this cover. It's an iconic, distinctive cover, as we always attempt to do, but I do think that one is particularly powerful, and we're very, very proud of that. We love celebrating our city, even in these tougher times, maybe especially in these tougher times, and we're determined to play our part in supporting the better year ahead, which it will be for all of us. This too shall pass. It shall, eventually. Right, to business, or rather to charity. Please send your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom. You can ask anonymously if you wish. Just send some lovely thoughts to our charities. And note that this webinar is being recorded, will be on YouTube subsequently, and is being live tweeted via Bristol Life right now. We were due to be joined by Phoebe Ruxton of FareShare Southwest, but unfortunately she's had to pull out due to some sad family news. Our very best wishes to her and to the FareShare team, who, like many charities, all charities, have worked tirelessly in these most challenging of circumstances. Let's bring forward first Tony Whitlock, Treasurer of Bristol Mind. Tony. Morning to you.
Morning, Greg. Thank you very much.
How are you doing? And for the benefit of those who don't know what Bristol Mind does, perhaps you might like to say what you do as a charity.
Fine, yeah. Well, thanks for inviting me along. In terms of the charity, for those who don't know Bristol Mind, you're probably familiar with the Mind, National Mind brand. We are a Bristol-based charity, but we are associated with National Mind. So we're a charity that promotes mental health and well-being within our community. So that's primarily Bristol, but can also include South Gloss and North Somerset. As I say, we're associated with National Mind, but we're autonomous, so we're expected to pay our way. We're under the National Mind ethos, but the whole thing is that we are as independent as possible, basically. So we're reliant on our own funding streams, basically.
And I'm sure you'll be talking about your funding streams and your need of or desire for businesses to support in a moment. If you stay on camera, as it were, we'll bring forward Helen Haskell, Corporate Partnerships Manager of the Grand Appeal. And whilst many, of course, will know the Grand Appeal is very high profile, very successful and quite brilliant charity. Helen, first of all, good morning.
Morning. Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
And do, for those who may not know, just briefly explain what the Grand Appeal is and what it does.
Yeah, so the Grand Appeal is a charity for Bristol Children's Hospital and the Special Care Baby Unit at St Michael's Hospital. And we provide comforts and facilities for children, fund life-saving medical equipment and family accommodation to help the Children's Hospital be the best it can be for babies, children and their families. And we never replace any NHS funding. So it's all the things that make the hospital the best place it can be, really.
Thank you, Helen. And as with Tony, we'll come back to you as part of the panel session, but thank you for that. Let's have Ed Smith, Head of Income Generation at Caring in Bristol, to step forward, please. And by the way, I'm advised that one of our panelists may be having a dog barking in a moment as the post arrives. So if that happens, it just shows that human life intrudes, at least canine life intrudes. Ed, good morning.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good.
Good. Tell us about Caring in Bristol in a nutshell. What do you do?
So Caring in Bristol, we're an organisation who work in the homelessness sector in the city. We work at the crisis point, supporting people who are experiencing homelessness with traditionally a night shelter, and we do a lot of work with young people as well, 16 to 25-year-olds, also experiencing or at risk of homelessness. And traditionally speaking, we have our Caring at Christmas project, which was our origin, where we came from, which is a massive service around the Christmas period, supporting people with a day centre and a night shelter at one of the most important times of the year for people. And as an organisation, we have a vision of empowering a city to solve homelessness.
Big vision, much needed, and we'll come on to some details subsequently. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Emma Gilmore, Head of Community and Events at Penny Brown. Emma, good morning.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Oh, well, I'm very well, thank you. Nice of you to ask. Tell us about the charity.
Yeah, so Penny Brown is a Bristol-based cancer charity. We help people to live well with cancer. So essentially, we provide the services that the NHS can't afford to do. So we do one-to-one appointments with doctors, counsellors, nutritional advice, exercise therapists, and at the moment all our sessions are online instead of out of our national centre, which is in Pill, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, indeed so. Thank you. And Martin, Empire Fighting Chance. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you, Greg. I'm good.
Good. Tell us, you're familiar to us with the Bristol Life Awards and other circumstances, but tell the audience today a little bit about Empire Fighting Chance.
Okay, so we use physical activity, mainly non-contact boxing, underpinned by intensive personal support, therapy and careers, to basically work with young people who come from difficult backgrounds, complex home lives. And what we're looking to do really is get them back into school and get them work.
Good. Well, thank you to all for joining us. And, this has been the most complicated, most difficult, most strangest of years for us all. But I'd like to begin with on a slightly more positive point, which is, for all of that, what have been the joys of this year for you? Would anyone like to offer a joy from 2020, if there is such a thing?
I will. So I think just for me, it's seeing how the charity sector have worked together. I mean, I think as a sector, we generally are amazing at that, kind of passing contacts on when they're no longer kind of use to us and working together with different things. And I think this year has just really solidified that, the amount of sort of training that's been online for everybody for free. And it's been an amazing sector to be part of this year.
How about Helen or Ed? Any joys for you?
Yeah, for us, really, it's just been seeing how amazing our supporters are and have been. And thank you to anyone who's listening, who's supported us at this time. We've always been really, really lucky with how many people across Bristol and beyond donate and fundraise and choose us for Charity of the Years and things. And it hasn't stopped. There's been a lot of unsolicited donations, a lot of people doing virtual events and things. And one of our biggest successes this year was we started a new online virtual run, which was called the Grand Run. And we couldn't have imagined that we'd get over 300 participants across the city signing up and raising over £30,000 in 2 months. So incredible. And yeah, we're just really grateful to everyone for still recognising that children still need support. There's been a lot of focus on adult care, which is quite right, but children are still coming into the children's hospital every day, still needing life-saving care and treatment and having regular appointments. So yeah, it's been heartwarming and we're very grateful.
You've touched on 2 points, which I'm sure we're going to be bringing out subsequently, about the ingenuity and resilience, both of the charities, but also of the supporters. How about you, Ed? What have been?
Yeah, so I completely echo that. I mean, I'm generally quite a positive person and try to find the positives in every situation. And for us as an organisation, it's been an incredibly transformational year. As an organisation, we've had to think very creatively, very innovatively about how we support the people we support in a time where many of our regular projects, our projects that we've built up over many years, have been unable to operate. So seeing the team create very, very quickly on a sixpence an amazing project. We created a project Cheers Drive, where to date we've fed over 145,000 meals to people experiencing homelessness over this period. It's been incredible. And then I'll echo what everyone else has said, the amazing community support from businesses, from individuals, from all sorts of organizations around the city to get behind and support and collaborate and really come together. I think in a way, to me, it's shown Bristol, and I'm sure other cities have seen this, but it's really shown Bristol to be what an amazing place it is. The way that the community have got behind all sorts of charities, and neighbourhoods have sort of rediscovered themselves as well, almost. It's been incredible.
Yeah, we've certainly found with Bristol Life that in a sense, lockdown has made everything local. We're that much more aware of our immediate locales, the walking from home, as it were, as well as the wider city, and the sort of veneration of the cleverness, the independent spiritedness of Bristol has absolutely come to the fore. It's as though when the tide goes out, the city is revealed, and it's revealed in its positive glory. Tony and Martin, some positives for you in this tough year.
Yeah, I would say, although it has been a tough year, and being a mental health organisation, we've really seen that front line. But what we've also seen is an incredible increase in the number of people volunteering for our organisation. So people have really come together. As mentioned already, people have genuinely come together and wanted to help, and our number of our volunteers has increased dramatically, which has also allowed us, of course, to increase some of our services. It's massively helped. But also, and as a trustee rather than a member of staff, shout out to the staff is how quickly they managed to get technology working for them as well. We're a relatively small organisation, yet and a face-to-face organisation, counselling and advocacy, and all of that, of course, is now on Zoom or Teams, and they've done a brilliant job negotiating all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, very, very good. Martin, how about you?
I won't repeat everybody, but the community's been great. But I think for me as well as the team, Greg. So, we're a physical organisation. Most of our work's done face-to-face. Most of our work's done using physical activity as a conduit to engagement. Yet not a single person who attended a one-to-one, a therapy or a small group, so the most intensive sessions we didn't have a session offered to them and continue from the immediacy of lockdown. So from the 21st of March onwards, the team went to unbelievable lengths to make sure that everybody that needed our help got it, whether that was travelling to houses and doing socially distant sessions in a car park, whether that was using Zoom, which, sports coaches aren't always that technology minded. So we had a few hiccups along the way, but they got it to work. It was incredible. And there were times when I sort of sat back and I thought, you know what, as a co-founder as well, I was so proud of what they did and how we supported everybody. So for me, that was a real plus.
Yeah, and that theme of teams and the support we will again come on to, but it is remarkable the durability, the desire, the quality of volunteers and teams across the charity sector has undoubtedly been a great positive. By the way, slightly parochially, one other positive, at least about one of our Media Clash members, is your shirts in the background, a good Bristol Rovers shirt. So that's got the thumbs up from some of the Media Clash team. And in a spirit of completely non-partisanship, I should give a shout out to the Bristol City as well, because were Phoebe here, she'd be talking, I'm sure, about Fair Share's partnership with Ashton Gate as well. So there we are, the two sides of the city referencing. Mr. Neutral, that's me. Let's talk.
I thought you were going to mention Portsmouth, Greg, then.
Yeah, shush, don't reveal my Pompey origins, what you do. Let's move on to how you've each been supported by business. Talk about both the importance of that and how you've seen, and by all means name check if you wish, how businesses have stepped forward in these times. Who'd like to say something? Perhaps Ed.
Yeah, so we've been amazed, really. So as an organisation, we're a growing organisation. In terms of the support we've received from the business community, that's been growing over time. We've obviously received donations from some amazing organisations who have supported us. People like, you mentioned them earlier, British Corn Shop, who have been absolutely fantastic, Safiro, various organisations, Barrett Homes, Irwin Mitchell. But for us, the collaboration with the hospitality industry has been absolutely critical to our service. So Cheers Drive was set up, as I say, within the space of a couple of weeks. It grew from nothing to delivering 400 to 400 people each day. We would not have been able to do that without the support of people like Josh Eggleton, the amazing chef from the Pony and Trap, who he'd supported us with our Caring at Christmas project before. And as soon as this crisis took hold, we knew who to go to. And we worked with Josh to again sort of get his colleagues on board. So people like Don Burrell from Pasta Loco, Shona Graham from Emmeline, a huge amount of chefs came on board at a time as well where their business was possibly suffering more than anyone else. The hospitality industry has been on its knees, and we were able to work with chefs, hire chefs to create amazing food, to really fill a void in the city of feeding people who had been taken from the shelters, from accommodation throughout the city, from the streets into hotel accommodation, but without food provision, without having them go out searching for it. So without the support of the hospitality industry, we would not have been able to have achieved what we've achieved. So that partnership and that collaboration has been incredible.
And it's very right and decent of you to give a shout out to the hospitality sector, as you say, of all the areas that have been hit, and for them to step forward, it's even more commendable.
Absolutely,
completely fair play to hospitality. How about some other business sectors or companies where you've had support, either not necessarily in cash, although that's always beneficial, maybe in kind as well? What has anyone else experienced?
So we, in many ways, what this has shown us is the deepening relationship as well for us, for some of the corporates that may have supported us in a more superficial way over the years. The Pasco Group have been absolutely phenomenal. So they have a series of Subway franchises. And when the first lockdown came, they started donating food. So we were able to feed families that had been, cut off from other services, and we'd sort of come across more families that had suffered from extreme food poverty, which is why people like Fair Share have been so great this year as well. We were able to feed them. People like Foot Anstey and Nathan Peacey, they were phenomenal. Extract Coffee have been absolutely brilliant with us, and there's Strongman Coffee. So, I mean, for us, the businesses in a very, very difficult time, Mobius Works have sort of spent time helping organisations when things have been hard for them, and those kind of relationships, they are heartwarming because it shows how much the businesses care about community, how much they care about charities, and how much they care, in our case, about the young people in their communities that are struggling. So for us, those organisations in particular were absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, that's it's very good of you to commend each of those. How about Tony, Emma, or Helen? Any particular occurrence that springs to mind for you?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been really very grateful for all the businesses in Bristol that have helped us, not just this year, but in the past as well. And we've seen some quite substantial donations this year from Hewlett Packard and Arag, and previous year from Burgess Salmon. Really, and what is great from purely, I'm the treasurer, so I'm going to sort of say something a bit financial now, but it's great to have that diversity of income as well. You know, we really, we don't want to be reliant on statutory income, if you like, but it's really very important that the businesses support us, and we accept this is an incredibly difficult time for them, and we're very grateful that that's continued, and you know, hopefully it will carry on, basically.
Yeah.
But it's essential, you know, really it does, you know, help tremendously.
Helen or Emma?
Yeah, so sorry, Helen.
You go.
I think for us, so we receive no statutory or government funding at all, and obviously all events have been cancelled this year, and that's a huge part of our income. So for us, having businesses support us is just vital. It's kind of, it's, you know, it's one of the things that are keeping us going. And it's amazing to see businesses like Anderson's Financial Management, who have supported us for many years, and they're still supporting us, you know, with donations, but also with advice. So we've just opened our hub on the Clifton Triangle, which at the front is a charity shop selling new and used items. And then at the back, we have treatment rooms so that people who are in the city centre and can't come out to Pennybrone for their counselling and nutrition advice, whatever it is that they need, they can access it in the city centre. And Anderson's have been, you know, really pivotal in getting that open for us. So they've been amazing. And we've also had so much amazing new support this year. I mean, obviously I said about the charity sector coming together, but also other sectors working together has been amazing. So we've had support from the Last Friday Ride, which is a property industry sort of networking group. And we've had amazing donations from them. And that's companies like Red Row Homes, Candor, BNP, Clark Wilmot. That's been great. Right through to people who have been fundraising in their office and kind of, you know, trying to adapt and do things online instead. So companies like Forest Brown, it's been amazing to see the range.
And thank you. And Helen, I know the Grand Appeal connects with so many different businesses. So I'm sure you'd wish to give a shout out to all of them, but are there any particular occurrences that spring to mind?
Yeah, so I just echo what everyone else says, but equally we've found we have a lot of employee fundraising through Charity of the Years, which haven't been able to happen. People haven't been in their offices and haven't been doing the cake sales and the bike rides and that kind of thing that they normally do. But what we've found is that they've been hugely innovative in ways that they can help us, whether it's through monetary donations, which is obviously very much needed, but also gifts in kind. We've got a Charity of the Year for this year, which is the Bristol Hotel, and they've had, you know, complete skeleton staff in. So when they couldn't have guests, they every Friday they were delivering meals to our family accommodation houses for the parents to give them a respite from cooking and to, you know, take the strain away from when they're in our family accommodation houses and visiting their children and by the bedside and things. And it's really just been amazing to see how companies like that have thought, oh, actually, you know, rather than just completely shut shop, we will still help the community. And companies like Rolls-Royce, for example, have, you know, stepped forward and given us donations and things. So it's just incredible to see the power of the Bristol community and businesses, and we're all just really grateful, I'm sure, across the whole panel for our corporate support, because as Emma said, events have just fallen off the cliff. So yeah, it's been amazing, really.
And you know, it's lovely to hear each of these testimonies, and in a sense it's another illustration of the point that in the worst of times people do show their best. And that, I'm sure, for all of us in different ways has been very touching, whether that's on a family or friendship basis, acquaintances, business colleagues, whatever, but also the corporates as well. So to all of you, I'm sure our charities today would wish to name check every single last one of you. I doubtless will have missed a couple off the list. but for all the Bristol businesses supporting charities, on their behalf, just really well done. It's so vital. I've got a question the other way round, which is from one of our attendees saying, frankly, there are so many charities to support. It can be overwhelming and actually distressing having to choose which ones. What might a business use as a steer when deciding to support a particular charity? If I could ask you not to make the plea for charity, but as a principle, how do you navigate this? There's all these needs, immediate. So there might be food, it might be poverty, it might be health, it might be anything, homelessness. How can you decide?
It might. Sorry, go on.
No, go on, Martin.
Martin, you go.
It may seem old-fashioned, but talk to us. I think there are lots of really, really great charities in Bristol. If you're doing it for a business, for example, the staff might have particular areas that align with your business or align with personal circumstance, and then spend some time talking to them. One thing that 2020 has shown is the importance of community. So actually investing in local charities will make a substantial difference to people that you see every day, people you walk past in the street, people that you might see on the train or whatever it might be. So for me, I wouldn't be necessarily so worried about those that you can't support, because we all understand not everybody can be supported, but I would find those that align with your interests and your values and have conversations and find the right partner for you.
Start the dialogue to the extent you don't have the dialogue already. That's been very clear. And actually, the technology helps that. We can all have quicker Zoom meetings than we can go see people and talk to people. So there is an upside in there, I guess. Ed or Helen, perhaps, and any advice for anyone? Not that anyone's sitting there thinking, I've got a tranche of money, I've got to find a home for it, but as a principle, how might they navigate all the competing causes and claims?
I'm a personal fan of putting it to the staff and asking the staff to choose who they'd like to support. That you immediately get that incredible engagement because the staff have driven it. The staff have got that connection, perhaps, and it just makes a much stronger partnership when the staff are involved. Yeah,
good. Any further thoughts? Otherwise, we'll move on to this. It was a friend in a technology business talking about their offering for charities the other day, saying, never fear the blatant ask. And I'm saying this to our charities here, but also those listening. What would you ask of the digital and technology companies on this webinar to enable you to do more in 2021? They're out there. Technologists are often very optimistic. They're people who want to help make the world better and so on. And tech for good is a key characteristic. So where might you get help? What do you need to promote your services? Or are you completely content with everything?
I think for us, so we've moved our services online for the first time ever, and we did that in the space of 2 weeks. So we went from everything being face-to-face at our beautiful national centre to everybody's working from home. We need to get all our services online. People with cancer at the moment are absolutely terrified. This is, a lot of them are really isolated. Their treatments have been postponed or even in some cases completely cancelled. There are people who have been diagnosed 6 months later than they should have been. So we need to get our services out to people online. And actually the demand for them has never been higher. We're almost struggling to keep up. But obviously we are a charity, and as I'm sure all the rest of these guys will attest, most of our technology is old, shall we say. Our computers and things are ancient, and it's kind of getting to the point where we don't have an in-house team we're a small team. We don't have an in-house team of people who can do that stuff, so we're kind of trying to fumble our way through. So yeah, any support, we want to get our services onto our website and things like that, so if anyone out there can help with that, then that would be amazing.
Emma, you're teetering on the brink of the blatant ask. I'll on your behalf and on others. If anyone out there just at this level has decent computers that they're upgrading or whatever, or they're redundant because they've downsized or whatever, please do reach out. We've been running a campaign since March of Bristol Together, which was subsequently adopted by the council as its slogan. Stick a note out on social media with Bristol Together if you've got any form of offering, whether it's computers, whether it's tech time, whether it's communication skills, goods and services, whatever, and we will try to help find partners for those goods and services, because our charities absolutely need them. They've got old technology and they need whatever help they can get in whichever way. Any other thoughts on the technology support or comm support you might wish? What would you most want to help you run your charities more effectively? You're all so content. Look at this. I'm going to move on from this. This is obviously a pretty duff area. I'm going to come on to a devil's advocate area, which is this one. How do you respond? One way or another, you're each in the area of fundraising, you and your colleagues. So how do you respond to this point from companies? You know what? After this year, which has been such a god-awful year for many, many businesses, companies are saying they're afraid they're not able to support charities. They've got to focus on their own businesses, their own survival, their own teams, etc. How do you respond to that when companies say, look, I just can't help?
I think you always understand, especially during the early part of the pandemic, everyone was in the same boat, and a lot of people obviously on furlough and things. And, we've had companies coming to us saying, we're going to have to pause our fundraising, but because, our income has taken such a hit, and where they've given a donation per sale or something, that, it just wasn't happening. And I think we understand and we appreciate, I'm sure everyone does on the panel, that it's really hard for a lot of sectors at the moment, and we would never be demanding, because we know that eventually when things come good again, those companies will be there for us. So I think don't be afraid to have an honest discussion with any of your charities that you support, and just say, look, we can't help you, but we will in the future when we can, because I think everyone gets it. And whilst it's disappointing to get those calls, at least you've got that dialogue, rather than the company just disappearing and you don't know what's happened or what next steps are, and you can't get hold of people. So it's much better to be honest. We understand, we're in the same boat. So yeah, just speak to us, and hopefully in the future, if you can't help us now, you can help us when you can. And
although money is the great enabler, it's pretty essential. Goods and services and time are also very valuable. Can you think of examples where businesses have used their other skills beyond their money to help your charities in this year? Anyone? I mean, one of these don't all rush moments again.
Well, for us, it can be simple things like mentoring. We've got young people that sometimes are feeling hard done to or in difficult situations. To have somebody who runs a business or somebody that's offering time and advice and consistency makes a world of difference. The support doesn't have to always be financial. It can be anything from widening a recruitment process to say, well, actually, we'll include people that might not necessarily fit our usual defined criteria to try and equal the playing field. It can be coming in and having conversations with young people for an hour a week. It can be just coming in to run a workshop. I mean, there's almost unlimited ways, really, I think, that organisations can support charities. It just doesn't always have to be through financial, and sometimes those things are just as valuable, if not more valuable, for organisations like ours anyway.
I completely echo that from Martin. So a lot of organisations, especially local organisations, they have small teams. They may not have skills in certain areas. So we've been working with organisations to help develop our organisation, to develop our processes, our policies, and make us a much stronger organisation going forward. And I think that has such an impact going forward, rather than just a straight donation of cash, which is great. It has that much further reach and that impact. So later on down the line, we're a much stronger organisation and more resilient and upskilled, really. And I think it works both ways. There's benefits of sort of on both sides of working in that pro bono support kind of way.
And so for companies listening to this, there are multiple different ways. And one, to touch on Ed's area, in terms of leadership, management, policies, the normal aspects that all businesses have to have. Well, so do charities. You're operating as quasi-commercial operations, and you also need development, like any business does. So whether it's mentoring, as Martin's mentioned, or in a broader sense, business development of the business rather than from the business, I'm sure there are a number of skills which listeners today will have, which will benefit our charities as Mark mentioned at the very beginning, legal services in particular. Can I kind of come on to this, that over a long period of time, there's been continuous change about the relationship between businesses and charities. Excuse me. What perhaps started as a charity pot, it evolved over time into a structured CSR approach, which largely was, of course, sincere, and in occasional cases was more of a tick box exercise that companies have a CSR approach. Whereas now, do you feel that that charities are becoming that much more central, almost organic to businesses, that it's part of the vital element of about how they operate, how they recruit, how they retain people? Has there been that shift?
So I'm happy to come in. I would say there's definitely been a shift, and I think it's for quite a lot of organisations, it's quite central in their various different areas of their business in terms of staff well-being, staff morale, team building, the sort of marketing and communications aspect of their work. I think supporting charity covers a lot of bases, and I think having it sort of as a central core of a business's strategy has increased and is really important, and sort of strong partnerships coming from that really benefit each side.
Any further thoughts on this, about the relationship between businesses and charities, perhaps getting closer, perhaps getting more part of the warp and the weft of your organisations?
I think you definitely get more well-rounded partnerships. And whereas perhaps you used to once get a charity of the year and then you would work with that charity for a year and then that's it, now you get sort of longer term partnerships, hopefully, which aren't just about fundraising or monetary donations. They're also about volunteering and more pro bono support and things. And what's really nice as a corporate fundraiser is having those relationships and having that ongoing partnership that you can go to the company and ask for help and advice, and it just makes it more well-rounded and more of a two-way partnership, really. Having lots of connections through the whole organisation, top down often, is fantastic, and yes, definitely changed in the last however many years, and it's very mutually beneficial.
Have you also seen across this year, it's been referred to as the great pause, but in some ways it's also been the great accelerator. Changes which maybe were underfoot in all different ways have become more accelerated, more prominent. Have you seen that in your organisations and your partnerships? I'm getting one of those only silences again. I'll tell you what, let's move on to Christmas. Christmas is a much more interesting thing. On the one hand, it is a very natural time for charities. It's when the focus and in some respects the need is greatest. And yet, with the current strictures, and I don't know what's been announced about Bristol today, but wherever we are, it's in a tough place. How will your Christmases be different, as charities, be different this year than intended? Perhaps you could each talk about that.
Yeah, I can go first. So for the Children's Hospital, it's very different. There's no bedside visit from Santa and no panto, and a lot of the activities, when normally it's a really, really busy time in the Children's Hospital with entertainers and everyone coming in to do performances and music and singing, all of that has gone online and been scaled back. But what we've seen is that all the hospital staff are really determined to make it a special Christmas for the children. So the play centre, which has been closed because the children can't socialise at the moment, is being set up as a grotto so that one-on-one they can come in and meet Santa. And there's going to be streaming and YouTube videos of craft activities they can all do alongside, and virtual Santa coming in to see them. And so I think everyone's pulled together to make it as special as it can be. We've changed the way that donations of presents have been given, because obviously that's tricky to coordinate and to make sure everything's safe with infection control. And also we've seen from companies a real desire to support our Christmas appeal, so that we can, ensure that Christmas is special for the children, and giving money rather than where they'd probably give presents previously. so yeah, it'll be different, but it's still going to be really special. And you know, for those children and families that have to be in the children's hospital, hopefully it will just be, you know, as special as it can be, really. So
thanks. Tony, how about Bristol Mind? How's Christmas going to be different this time?
Christmas, I suppose, is tough for some people anyway, and our services will carry on as they would do, except of course not face to face. So we're seeing people where we can virtually, but our obviously one of the big parts of our organisation is our telephone helplines. So they're now up to 7 days a week, and they'll continue throughout the Christmas period. So we'll be dealing with as many people as we can, albeit in a slightly different way.
Those telephone helplines, are they, forgive my lack of knowledge, is this a professional service, or are there also need for volunteers for those as well?
This is both a professional and a service run by volunteers, yeah.
Right, right. Well, if you're in need of more volunteers, please, anyone listening to this who's interested.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, thank you.
Okay, Martin or Emma, thoughts on your charities' Christmases?
Yes,
So
so
you go, Emma. If there's one thing about charities, you play nicely. So there we go.
We
Emma.
do. We're all very polite.
Yeah.
So I think for us, you know, historically, people wouldn't necessarily want to come to the National Centre over Christmas because it means spending time away from home, you know, travelling when maybe the roads are a bit busy. It's not necessarily something that people have been as keen to do in the past. Whereas actually this year is quite exciting for us because all our services are online. So somebody can, you know, nip on for a 1 hour appointment with a doctor in between wrapping presents and making mince pies. It doesn't have to take out, you know, a whole day for them. So yes, I think for us it's going to be a different year, but it's exciting to know that all our online services will be there throughout the season.
Martin?
The gym's always closed at Christmas anyway, so we've we've got an emergency telephone line that we've installed through COVID that goes to individual coaches. So that support, which hasn't really been needed massively in the past, will be continuing throughout the Christmas period for us.
Good. And Ed, your organisation has probably had, in comparison to what you might have been doing, it's presumably quite a difficult time for you. Yeah, a difficult time for you as well.
I mean, we're having a huge change. We started as Caring at Christmas. That's our origin. So our Christmas project, I mentioned it earlier. Sort of last year, we supported over I think it was actually 429 individuals over that time, with a day centre and a night shelter. Over 10 days. It's a project all about bringing people together, sort of bringing that sense of Christmas, that community aspect of Christmas, as well as food, as well as well-being, as well as sort of medical and health checkups. Obviously, this year we've had to completely redesign our Caring at Christmas project. We are again going to be utilising the support of the hospitality industry and Josh Eggleton and his contacts, and Cheers Drive will put a Santa hat on, and we'll be getting out to perhaps more people than we've ever seen before at Christmas, actually, delivering food, delivering wellbeing parcels, delivering hopefully an element of community to people, and having, again, I think as Tony was saying, we'll be having a sort of phone line set up so people can contact and have that conversation with people to try and bring people together as much as possible, but in a COVID safe way. So it's had huge impacts on our Christmas activities. But as I said, we're probably going to be supporting more people than we ever have over Christmas, just in a very different way.
Yeah. And to you and all the charities here, but all the charities watching, of course, please share all your great pics, your sort of where there has been, it can be festive cheer and so on, about your volunteers, the people you're working with and so on. Share those pics with the hashtag Bristol Together, and we'll reshare to the full audience, because in one way or another, all the relationships can be extended, and we can all get buoyed up by knowing there's such great activity that you and all the others are doing. I'd like to come on to, as we're coming towards the end, the sort of, I mentioned before about the blatant ask. Well, this is a different one to you. if you could ask for anything from any of the businesses watching here or subsequently watching on YouTube, as well as money, what would you ask of businesses to do to help you improve, extend your charity in the run up to Christmas and then into 2021? What do you want from businesses?
I think it's always really helpful to have help, not just with the monetary donations, but also in spreading the word. We're very fortunate at the Grand Appeal that people hopefully know about the Children's Hospital, but I don't think everyone knows how amazing the Children's Hospital is. We're very lucky it's in Bristol. It's a centre of excellence and a referral centre for the whole of the Southwest, treating 100,000 children from across the Southwest, South Wales and beyond. We've got the amazing pioneering work in neurosurgery, cancer and bone marrow transplant treatment, renal care, cardiac care, and it's right on our doorstep. And so if any businesses are out there and they can't help with money at the moment or gifts in kind, then please just help spread the word about the work of the Children's Hospital and the Grand Appeal, and help support families from across the whole of the Southwest who just really need it. So yeah, get in touch if you need some information to help spread amongst your colleagues, clients, or anyone else really. And
then that echo chamber of social media at its best is so valuable. The find good things to praise and share them. It will help, but also buoy up people as well. What else would Ed, Tony, Emma, and Martin wish of businesses?
So again, it's sort of spreading that word, networks, helping us reach networks. We've got some really exciting plans for 2021. One thing that's happened this year is it's given us a chance to really drill down into our projects and really analyze them and look at their impact, their effectiveness, and how they work, and make changes. And we've got some really interesting plans for next year around looking for property. So we're really on the lookout for landlords who can help in setting up a youth shelter, a sanctuary for young people to have a place to stay when they're in that crisis situation. So that's a really sort of specific thing, but opening networks is really important, I think, for us, and introducing us to other organisations who may be interested.
I don't think that's a dog I can hear. So it would appear to be a baby.
That's my daughter.
Well, if you can, tear yourself away from that paternal instinct to go and see what's causing that. Just one specific question for you, Ed. When you say you're looking for landlords and premises, can you just give a little bit more detail, because you never know. There may be people out there who know of places and people. Are you looking for? Let's be candid. Are you looking for a free site? Are you looking for a defined time, or what?
I mean, ideally free, but we are looking to have this as a long-term project, supporting young people with the youth shelter. So we're looking for an HMO, and hopefully people will have contact with people who may be willing to discuss how we can use a space like that, and set something up.
If you don't mind, if I could ask you just to pop on mute for a second, and sorry, thank you. Tony, Martin, Emma, what would you most wish from businesses?
I would agree with the networking. I mean, Bristol Mind, we could really do with some help with brand awareness. I think everybody knows Mind, but we're quite new to the kind of commercial sector and the sort of commercial giving and fundraising. Really, I think the last couple of years we've done, thankfully, very well out of it. But our brand awareness, what more partnership working could we do, and some sort of mutually beneficial work? If the commercial sector could help us, how could we help them? As you say, it doesn't have to be money. Money's nice, but it doesn't have to be money. And we'd like to, certainly the brand awareness, networking, and mutually beneficial partnerships, I think, is what we've been doing.
And these, give or take, these are all key themes of any business would have, as well as a charity, about that, extending the word, letting people know the offering, starting conversations, building partnerships, and they're essential to all forms of all organisations. And I think who have a deep affinity, please do. Yeah.
Bristol Mind. So yeah, please, yeah, we'd love to hear from people. Definitely.
Yeah, Martin, you've made the point about partnerships. Are there other things you would wish from businesses watching this?
obviously, I'm including everything that my colleagues have said because they're correct. I mean, one thing that's important is community. So what I'm hoping again is that 2020 has shown us how important local communities are. I would ask people, come and see us, come and visit the gym, come and meet our young people, understand what we're trying to do, see the difference we're making. Sometimes it's difficult to encapsulate what Empire Fighting Chance is in a couple of words, you know. So if you're interested, come and see us, walk around the environment, talk to me, talk to the team, meet the young people. See, there's lots of opportunities to add value in many ways, whether that's financial, which is always great, through to mentoring, to professional help. So I guess my plea is, yeah, push the message out by all means and come and see us.
Yeah, come and see you know, when we all can, when it's socially appropriate and so on. This is a difficult time for visibility, for events, relationships and so on. But as mentioned, we of course will all get through this. And for those watching who've understood and you know, are thinking about where they might invest time as well as resources, I hope there's been some good steers today. Emma, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, echo the same as everyone else, really. Penny is, we've been in Bristol for 40 years. It was our birthday in October. So obviously this hasn't quite been the year of celebrations that we had hoped for. But even though we've been here for 40 years, you know, we've changed our name. We've moved from the city centre out to Peel. And we were sort of often say that, you know, we're Bristol's best kept secret. A lot of people don't know about us until they need to use the services. So getting that awareness out there is, you know, is really vital. And actually some of our best relationships in terms of community and corporate event, community and event support has come from corporates who haven't had the money to support a charity or don't feel they've got the time to do it, and have run sort of charity spotlights in their staff newsletters. I think if you can, you know, shine a light on the different charities that are in Bristol in your monthly updates, and then because individuals can then choose to go and support the charities that they want to, but it gets the word of the charity out there.
Yeah, thank you. Phoebe Ruxton from FareShare dropped us a line, and to be honest, it's actually quite touching at a time when whatever is happening on a personal basis, she wanted to help get the word out for FareShare, so she did send this note to us. Had I been on this webinar, my main ask to local companies was to talk to us about volunteer days at our emergency food stock 2020 food warehouse, where we've had over 30 brilliant Bristol businesses step up to help us out so far. We're really in need of extra hands after Christmas, especially. So, you know, whilst the focus today is a little bit more on Christmas, of course, January is going to be, she's not saying this is me, is going to be a continuingly tough month. So she's making the plea in need of extra hands after Christmas, especially, and it's an excellent way of safely doing some positive team building and reconnecting for those who've been working from home. We will shortly be tweeting that link to FareShare's site, where people can find out more information and step forward if they wish. One last question to each. In brief, how are you viewing 2021? Cautious optimism, don't know, slightly fearful? Where are you each on 2021?
Probably cautious optimism. I think we're working really hard on changing our events and activities so that they can happen, whatever happens, so they can be a virtual event, or if towards the end of the year we can have actual events, that they can happen, you know, in person, but who knows. So we are working hard to make sure that, you know, whatever happens, our supporters can still support us. And I mean, we've had a bad year this year, so hopefully it's got to get better, hasn't it?
Well, one would think, one would hope, one certainly believes. How about others? Where are you on the thermometer of this year? Where would you go towards a sort of cautious optimism or not? Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I'd be cautious optimism as well. I think in some ways I'm really excited about next year. It's amazing that we're reaching different people, kind of, you know, from all over the place. People that are too unwell to come and visit the centre can do it from their beds. We've got a new CEO. Like Ed said, I think most fundraisers are kind of, we're optimistic, positive people. So I'm, yeah, kind of cautiously optimistic. I'm looking forward to it being a blank page and kind of starting again.
Do you share that cautious optimism, or any further thoughts from our other three?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a Bristol Rovers fan, so by nature I'm relentlessly optimistic. The only thing that gets me through. I'm optimistic. I think we're, as an organisation, it's given us a chance to reflect. I think we're going to leave 2020 better organisationally than we did, than we started it. As you said, this won't last forever, and I'm sort of optimistic that 2021 will be a lot better for everyone.
Trouble with being a Rovers fan, almost any football fan, is we all travel in hope. Rudely shattered. Yeah, Ed or Tony.
I would agree. I mean, we have to be optimistic, don't we? We've got to assume that things will move forward, and I think they will. And obviously there will be challenges, but I think there are opportunities as well. I mean, nothing else. I mean, certainly from my point of view, we've, moving into that digital platform, we have potentially reached more people. It is easy for people to get in touch now with particularly with Bristol Mind, with our charity. We have upgraded all that kind of stuff, and we've got to build upon that. I think it'd be great to get back to personal contact, obviously, but whether that happens anytime soon. But yeah.
Tony, it's only a question of when. Now, when that is, we don't know, but it's only a question of when.
Yeah.
Ed, your thoughts, your closing thoughts.
So I mentioned my eternal positivity, and I'm really excited about the year coming. For an organisation through this turbulent time, it's actually been hugely transformational, both as a service provider and as an income generation team. It's been hugely transformational, and we have huge aspirations for 2021 for our service and our remodeled service. And so there's huge excitement for where we're traveling, and the community spirit, I think, that we've seen this year has really it really leads to us feeling very positive about sort of where we may be going.
Well, your positivity, resilience, confidence, determination, but your sort of heartwarming desire to keep on keeping on, I think has been completely palpable. It's shone through today. And on behalf of everyone watching now or subsequently on YouTube, thank you ever so much. Thank you to our speakers today, Tony Whitlock from Bristol Mind, Ed Smith of Caring in Bristol, Martin Bisp of Empire Fighting Chance, Helen Haskell, The Grand Appeal, and Emma Gilmore, Penny Bron, and also in spirit, Phoebe Ruxton of Fair Share Southwest. Thank you to you all. Thank you also, of course, to our sponsor, Bevan Britain, and to you for your time and questions today. And more generally, for your support in this weirdest of years when our lives have been changed utterly. We've been living in this strange eternal present, hopeful that things are going to change, but having no real idea quite when that change is going to come, beyond the certainty that it will come. This too shall pass. None of us will ever live through another year like this again. Thank God. 2021 does open up a new vista for us all. And one of the big things that's come out today, and I suspect for all of us, this has been a year of many negatives, but also a year of learning. We've had to learn new skills, new ways of communicating. We've also learned a lot about ourselves, our colleagues, our friends, families, businesses, and so on. And I hope today we've all learned a lot about our charities in Bristol. Good luck to you all in the coming months. And for Bristol Life, please do have yourself a merry, merry Christmas somehow. This has been a Media Clash production, and this has been a very special Bristol Life Business Club. Bristol together, and thank you.
Thank you.